the situations, and not only the situation as a whole, but for each character in the premise. You really feel their weight. You really feel what's going on in their minds. So, question number 5. How much research was involved for your book? Wallace writes, well, I don't remember all the Vietnam War books I read all my life before starting year 1. Anyway, in the last 2 years, I read or watched around 100 books, websites, documentaries, movies, and even comics. I also have some military manuals from the 60s, both for special forces usage and for common soldier usage and knowledge. Anyway, the thing that gave me the most pleasure was interviewing real special forces veterans. There are many episodes in my book that came from real life. Some of them were given to me for usage from real veterans, but on one condition, that they should stay anonymous forever. And I did. And at the end of every one of my books, I say what is truth and what is fiction. And sometimes I tell the reader, this is truth, but I can't tell you, who told this to me. I love that. I love that, Wallace. That's really great, At the same time, I feel, with Wallace giving this answer, that it's a great service to the men and women who gave the great service of serving and the great service of giving everything for the country. So I really love that answer, and I'm really, really, really proud of reading this to you guys. So question number 6. How did you prepare for your book? Wallace writes, already told you. Suppose we can delete this question. Okay. Question number 7. Did you have any other inspiration for the book besides Rambo? Wallace writes, sure. My Troutman character is largely based on John Paul Van. Inside the book, a bright, shining lie. He was a real hero, not a movie hero, or not a movie one, but a real one, with many defects. I really love his story. Well, I can't wait to read more of this when it's transcribed into English, because this is just phenomenal. Like every page is just wow. You're just gonna get caught up in this. It's just a brilliant retelling, or actually it's a new telling of a retelling. So it's very, very, very cool. So Wallace goes on to write, regarding Rambo, I obviously took a lot from the movie, but for the most, he is mine. My Rambo never goes against what you know about him from the movies, but there are many surprises, most of all about his never-told-before past. The main reason he is slightly different from the usual and talkless Rambo, is because in my book he is younger. My book explains how he became the Rambo we all know. So, in the beginning, he is a little bit more normal. Then we are used to seeing him. You can briefly see my Rambo on the big screen in the beginning of First Blood when he talks with Delmore Barry's mother or wife. He smiles and talks a lot. In my books, he still wants to live, to have friends and love someone before the war will possibly take away everything from him. That's my Rambo for the first 2 books. After that, we all know what happens to him. I just wanted to say, I messed up when I was reading that. It's Delmore's wife, sorry, not mother. I think Delmore's daughter is also in that scene, and she gets kind of shooed away because the wife, the mother of the kid, the wife, doesn't want to, maybe doesn't want to stir up old ghosts for her, you know? Old ghosts for her to remember. Because it already is tragic. You know, like imagine you're used to your dad being this really, really big guy. And then he goes over, and then when he comes back, you have to watch him deteriorate. You know, losing all his weight at a very, disturbing rate. Kind of like that Stephen King book, Thinner, or that movie, Thinner. You know, and then having to watch him basically whittle away to nothing, or wither away to nothing. You know, so it's a lot of the horrors of Vietnam coming home, you know, that's one of them that I think really, also when I say that, I looked at First Blood also as a horror movie, you know, I could see that from that scene, you know, I could imagine the deterioration, and it's scary, you know, you don't have to show it on the screen, but subliminally, the mind works in great lengths, and, you know, you can feel that. You can kind of see it in your head anyway. So, that's a really great answer, Wallace. I really love that one. Question number 8. How long did Year One take to write? Wallace writes, Year One, as the first book of the saga, took about 5 months to write. The entire trilogy or quadrilogy, still have to decide, took a little less than 2 years for the first draft. Most of the work is to transform the first draft in a perfect, non-stop, outstanding novel. Every single word has to be awesome. That's the way I write. Every single word and every single letter in every word. I am near to 2 years of work, and I think that in the end, it got to 3. It's getting to 3 years. Alright. Well, that is very true. When I read Wallace's work, there's so much dedication. And you have to you have to realize that reading Rambo Year One, reading the English transcribed version, is so well done. You know, knowing that it's not Wallace's first language, that, Wallace wrote it in Italian, and to kind of get that feel on the English side is very impressive. I was very, very, very impressed with how it shone through to the English version. I almost wish I could read Italian just so I could, go back and look at the subtle differences. But that's just brilliant. Question number 9. Has the book had an effect on your life personally? Wallace writes, the answer, my life, no, but my mind, yes. I wrote a Rambo prequel. My God, I never thought I could do anything like that, but I did. And it's the best thing I ever wrote in my life. The main problem there have not been any Rambo prequels before. It's not that Stallone is too old to act in it. The problem is that the Vietnam War is a tragedy, and that Rambo is an action hero. And the two things are supposed to work very well together. This is the real problem. I solved the problem. If you have read the second video episode of Year One, my friend, I am sure you will agree. I can write action as tragedy. It's very true. It's very true. Seeing that whole piece on, Manuel Ortega, seeing that whole piece on Rambo, actually, in the second video, when all the enemies are backed up and Rambo's, firing from the gutter, and he's getting dust and sweat and muck and blood in his eyes, and he can't see, and he's acting on impulse, and that the people in front of them are so hell-bent in taking everything over that they're just running into bullets. They're just, almost like Suicide Squad. Almost like it was so overwhelming that the only thing everybody could do was shoot their way out of it. You know, almost like, it was almost like, you know, having hundreds of men rush you to take you down shooting, and you're shooting at them, right, and everybody's shooting. It's almost as if the Viet Cong wanted them to run out of bullets, you know, before they, you know, just throw so many targets up that the rate in which, you know, you would be firing at each individual person or target would be, you know, diminished. Kind of like they would have less chances of hitting so many moving targets, and that there would be so many that it would acquire a loss of ammo, you know, because it wouldn't be as accurate. And plus you're under a lot of pressure, so, you know, you're under a lot of pressure and you're not operating the same. And plus, you know, everything around them was getting decimated. It was a really fierce attack. I think there was a mortar attack in there as well. It's just a really great chapter. It's a really, 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 really great chapter. And another thing about that answer, too, is, you know, when Wallace writes that he never thought he could do anything like that, I totally understand you. I felt like that myself while working on different projects in this series, actually. And it's one of the main themes of this series, is that the biggest things can come from the smallest ideas, and that you can do it, and that never let anyone tell you you can't. You know, because you can. And, you know, Wallace's book is a staple to that theory. It's not even a theory, it's a fact. And Wallace's his dedication, it's an example for everyone that if you want something, you know, the hardest part is coming up with it. Once you do that and you have the love behind you burning, it's all downhill. You know, it's all downhill from there. So, question number 10. Are there any plans for a sequel to your Rambo Year 1 works? Yes, Wallace writes. I have not written it, but I have it. But my wish is to complete all of my saga before going out with it. The books are 3 or 4. I still have to decide if it's better to divide the last book into 2 parts. That's a big thing right now, Wallace, so you might want to jump on that. A lot of people are doing that with their books now, and a lot of movies are copying that. You know, like Twilight copied it. What do you call that? Hunger Games copied that format. I think the Divergent series is doing that too, but I haven't seen that. My girlfriend saw it. But those are examples. I'm not, you know, backing up Twilight or well, Hunger Games is a little more acceptable for me, but, you know, I'm not really a big fan of Divergent or Ender's Game or you know, Twilight. That movie had split 1 into 2, you know. Being forced to watch that movie actually was kind of bad, because I kind of felt like maybe they could have done it in 1, just made it a little more epic and stretched out. But that's the way the money tree works, I guess. Anyway, let's see. There's also a 10B to this question. It's a 2-part answer. I wrote, I guess he asks the question, or he displays the question, and then he gives the answer. And 10B is tell us about your saga. So, the second answer to this question, the first book, Year 1, tells us about the grueling selection program to join the Special Forces. It's all in the woods, and there are no real enemies, as there weren't in First Blood. It's all a matter of fatigue, tortures, and mind demons. The second book is called Baker Team, and tells about the 2 years of training in Fort Bragg, and the first mission of the Baker Team. The fans will like it because it explains in detail everything Rambo makes in the movies. The knife, the bow, making traps, avoiding enemies, avoiding dogs, training hard training,